Welcome everybody to the Hourglass. So today we will be doing a divine masculine energy tap. We're going to tap into their higher self and see where they're at this moment in time. All my readings are timeless, but I deal with a lot of current energy. So I do hope this video meets you in safety. All right, you guys, let's see what's popping with your divine masculine. Now, keep in mind, your divine masculine could be male or female. It's just energies at this time. Not all the messages are going to resonate. So take what does, leave what doesn't. Time and energy is fluid. We all have free will. All right. So no matter what comes out the cards, remember it could all change because we have free will. We could do what we want. All right. All right. Let's see what's going on with your divine masculine. This could also resonate with a divine masculinity within yourself as well. That needs some type of insights or guidance as well. Let's see what's going on with this divine masculine. Give us some new energy, beloved. We want some new energy. We all going through healings right now. A lot of foundations are being broken down. We had that new moon in Aries. Happy birthday to all Aries people out there. My son is an Aries. I am an Aries Rising. So, yeah. I know what it is. I know what it is. Yeah. So, a lot of that burst of energy. Spring is here. It's a spring equinox. And yes, a lot of things are drastically changing. The earth right now is going through some type of divine intervention, some type of divine purge or cleansing right now. So, the normal way was just not working, right? All right, let's see what's going on with your divine masculine. What's going on with this collective of divine masculines? What's going on with this collective of divine masculines? Keep an open mind. All right, so currently your divine masculine, male or female, they're keeping an open mind, all right? I feel for a lot of them, being that they have been reaping a lot of karma due to what they did to their divine feminine and the karmics, soulmates, it's all coming back around. I feel I need to say that it's some type of full cycle or full circle for this divine masculine that's coming through. They're starting to understand their own expectations they held on the divine feminine. They're starting to see that, yes, the divine feminine is their twin lover. Some of them may even think of you as their soulmate. And you're so unusual from what they're accustomed to. All right. So now they know they have to keep an open mind. They're trying to curve this narrow mindedness about themselves because they see now who you are. This person has been getting a lot of synchronicities about you. And they're more focused or they're paying more attention, whether you see that or not, in the physical realm. One more card, please, about this divine masculine. One more card. Wow, so we have religious factors. Overall, we have free yourself. So your divine masculine may be working right now or practicing on letting go a lot of kind of religious or religious expectations of you, divine feminine. They may have been growing up a certain way, or they may have been programmed and conditioned to be attracted to a certain type of partner. All right. And this could stem from early childhood grooming. It could be a way of beliefs as well. Doesn't necessarily have to stop at religion. It could also be spirituality, where one of you is spiritual, the other may be religious, and they're working on keeping an open mind, trying to integrate what their divine feminine has taught them or who she or he is. All right. I feel like they're letting go or they're freeing themselves from a lot of could also be a thought process that has been hurting them. I feel like this divine masculine, like many of us, they have a lot of unhealed wounds, and they're starting to see that the way how their parents taught them or the way that their parents treated them definitely affected the way how they treated the divine feminine, the way how they perceive the divine feminine, if you're following. So right now, they're taking this time to take control back of their life. And when I say their life, I mean the way that they think, the way that they respond. the way how they communicate or interact. They're starting to see that they themselves, the divine masculine themselves, are starting to see that they are different. They could have considered themselves as a black sheep, because many of times the black sheep of the family always keeps themselves secluded or in isolation from the rest of the family. I mean, they would come out and socialize and unite and interact, but deep down it's a lot of things that they are aware of or that they see that rubs them the wrong way. So your divine masculine could be definitely a black sheep, or they're starting to notice that similarity within their divine feminine. I don't know why, but I feel very out of breath, almost like I'm going to save it for later. I'm going to save that for later. But yeah, they're starting to see how their religious factors, their spiritual beliefs, if they're not quite spiritual, they are starting to see how their family upbringing influenced their path. They're looking at their divine feminine, really analyzing the divine feminine and looking at he or she at what they believe, their beliefs, and how it propels them in life. I feel like somebody, either the divine feminine, the divine masculine, you guys may have a conversation, and whatever you introduce to them, because it was the first time they probably heard or learned this from you. So, excuse me, I had the sneezes. So, whatever you introduce to them may have repelled them, or they automatically pump the brakes because it kind of like contradict what they were thought to believe. You get what I'm saying? I heard Judaism, and you may be into Egyptian mythology or Egyptian history. And, this could also be European religion as well, where they may have been thought or misled to think that a certain spiritual teacher was actually some type of savior or some type of god. So maybe some type of spiritual gem or spiritual information that you gave them, it contradict what they believed in, and it kind of like put them on the fence here. But they're starting to see the way to keep this relationship or this connection flowing between the both of you is to keep an open mind, all right? Not let their ego get in the way and try to manipulate them into thinking that this is the wrong way, or this is danger, or this is a warning. So they're freeing themselves, almost like a blank canvas. Awesome. Now let's start with this deck, and then we go into the emotions. All right, so tell me more about keep an open mind. What is that about, beloved? What is that about? I feel like this person is doing a lot of research, or they're studying here. What is this about, beloved? Thank you. Toil and labor. All right, so they may have thought that this connection between you, divine feminine, was a little bit too much for them. I feel like as a child, this person may have been force-raped, as we say in the islands, but they may have had to grow up kind of quickly. They may have been the oldest child of the parents for their parents, and they may have had to grow up to take care of those siblings. All right, they may have been force-raped or pushed to grow up too soon, and they may not have had time to really discover who they are. I mean, go on adventures that opened up a different side of them. They may have had a routine that they stuck to out of survival, perhaps. I gotta get some more information on this. They may have had a skill as well, or you have a skill that sets you apart, divine feminine, from the rest of this divine masculine's partners that they had in their life. Tell me more about religious factors, please. Thank you. Oh, so we have the house. Interesting. So I definitely feel like it was a community upbringing or some type of culture that influence this divine masculine heavily. All right. So whatever you try to open their mind with, they completely shut it down because it was contradicting what they grew up knowing as the truth. So they may have needed a little bit more time to put in work on themselves, to really constant. They may have had to like really break down something, hey, as their foundation. Yeah, I feel like they may have came from a big family where there were other siblings that they may have had to like take care of. I keep hearing the phrase all in one roof, all in one roof. So this may also be someone that they live with. If your divine masculine, if you know that your divine masculine is in a partnership, they may have had just a routine that they were living by. So they kind of like pick a partner that reflected their childhood or their teen years. Oh, I don't know. I feel like underneath the deck occupation. So this person, this divine masculine may be really tied up with work right now, or they're really concentrated on the next step they're going to take when it comes to work, because it's a lot of work here, a lot of manual work. So this person, this divine masculine may have had to do a lot of manual work ever since they were from a child. So this person could have been working for like the age of 3, 6 years old, and they had this routine. This person could be very humble as well, so you may not even know that this divine masculine, male or female, they've been working all their life. They could have been working on a lot of things that they were groomed to do, and now it's manual labor to have this hard reset in their life. They want to mend something here with the divine feminine. Okay, so it's like they're keeping an open mind so they could mend the connection or the friendship or the bond, because this person thinks you're a soulmate. I'm not too sure if they know all the labels or the terms, or different levels of a soul connection or a spiritual bond. But whatever the case is, they're doing something manually here. I keep getting manual labor, longing. Then I say they want to mend something with you, and then we have discourage. All right, so divine feminine, you may be really sticking to your point of views, and this is kind of discouraging. It's dispirited to this divine masculine. I feel like they feel like you're judging them. They're bored. They're bored with this healing, huh? I feel like this divine masculine is bored with some type of way of living here. It's like they want to expose their true identity or their true selves. Oh, okay. So they're getting back to a hobby. When I said researching, I felt like they were like studying. So they may be getting back to a hobby because they're bored, or that's what they're up to right now. They're really looking into some hobbies. I heard that they may be a writer, or they want to write a book, or there's a book that they always refer back to. And it's like every time they go back to this book, they learn something totally different that unlocks them, that sets them free, that puts them in control of their life. For some of you, they feel like this is what you're doing, divine feminine, and they're getting bored, or they're feeling like you're uninterested because they're not doing the work, or this person just does not want to do the work because it's a lot of manual labor. So they sit and think about you. Meanwhile, some of you may be, so the energy could flip flop as well, you guys. So you may be doing a lot of inner work, and this is in return turning, or the wheel of fortune is turning for you. Both of you are longing for each other, and this divine masculine may be totally different from your previous partners as well. This divine masculine, it's like they stress you the hell out, they're a pain in your butt, but it's like you guys can't help but long for each other. I feel like this person has a letter, or they have something written that they want to give to you, but they don't. They're trying to keep an open mind about it, or keep an open mind of how you may respond. Some of them feel like you're very judgmental. You have very strong views. I feel like some of you, they perceive you as someone that's very official. You may even own your own home. Okay, so this divine masculine may be discouraged in more ways than one when it comes to this connection, because the both of you have very strong views, and it's like they don't see how that's going to work under one roof. Okay. Okay. So it's some type of initiation needs to happen, but your divine masculine is discouraged. It's almost like they need you to work with them or assist them. But if you guys are in complete separation, they feel discouraged because of that. Some of you are living under the same roof. Some of you are in your union, and something here is discouraging your divine masculine from moving forward because you guys have strong but different views about life, about love, about taking care of the spirit. Okay, so let's get some more. Together meets forever. Yeah. So this divine masculine knows who you are, and they know it's a lot of work that's going to have to be done to catch right up to you, divine feminine, and it may have a lot to do with the spirituality and the religion, because you could integrate both. Tell me more about house and discourage. I'm confused by what you said, mean, and want. So there's definitely different language. There may be a language barrier here. This divine masculine, male or female, is very distrusting on the foundation of how strong or firm this connection really is, because it's too many misunderstandings, because the both of you were raised differently. And I feel like this divine masculine they feel like it's going to take a lot of work to break away from how they were groomed, and it has a lot to do with their parents. This could be a divine masculine that they're accustomed to a lot of yelling and a lot of bickering in their life, and it's instilled in them, even though it causes a lot of stress, it causes a lot of anxiety, it causes a lot of breakups, even in the previous relationships or connections, attachments they had with others. They know that it has a lot of negative consequences, but they feel discouraged to break away from that, almost like they don't know how to form new habits, or how to switch off of autopilot into a different routine. But they're actually viewing it as toil and labor, hard work, manual labor, something that they have to actually learn. And they may be very stubborn. They may be taking a time out from that. It's taken longer than I thought. Yeah, it's taken longer than they thought. So, this divine masculine could have thought that they were great, however they thought they were great. And they're now coming to the realization that they're not that great, and they're more wounded than they think or they thought they were. So this is why it's taking longer than they thought. And they're getting really bored of having to learn. They're getting bored with having to learn a lot of their flaws, and having to actually switch out of that and become more. It's like they're trapped in some type of box when it comes to a certain type of lifestyle. Okay, so this person may be very avoidant. So you may be dealing with somebody that's avoidant when it comes to their flaws. Maybe they don't like to recognize that they had like a really tough childhood. They're proud of who they are, but they don't like to recognize that it's because of that same childhood that they have a lot of unhealed wounds that they really need to clear out. Some of them, they could feel very proud that they have been the breadwinner, or someone that works hard from a very young age. This may be a skill, a hobby, a career. But I do feel like they want to mend things with the divine feminine, Four of Swords, resting. Some of them could be astral projecting to a past time in their life, or a past timeline in their life. They're trying to really understand something here about keeping an open mind. Maybe they're having difficulty keeping an open mind about not only this connection, the divine feminine, but healing as well. And sometimes they're very avoidant. They just sit, they kill a lot of time. This divine masculine misses you, and they're planning something here. They're planning how to, a lot of cups cards are flashing to me. The Knight of Cups, the Page of Cups. This person is preparing themselves to come forward to you, and they've been doing a lot of work. You know, it's like they're getting bored. It's like, oh, I'm getting anxious to implement what I've learned about myself. I'm anxious to implement this new life or this new way of being, because the normal ways wasn't working. It was trapping them in some type of narrow-minded about the divine feminine, and they were keep see what I told you. So in the beginning, when I said something came to a full circle or full cycle, it's done. And now they're being initiated into a new beginning, but they're discouraged because there could be a lot of pain, a lot of grief. And this is why they're avoidant. They're being very avoidant because, again, they're proud of who they are. They're proud of how they grew up, but it's because of that same background that they have to do a lot of work on themselves, all right? But they do feel like you guys were fated, your destiny together meets forever. And they're keeping an open mind about that because they're longing for you a lot. They have a pictures of you that they look at as well. I just heard that this divine masculine sees you when they close their eyes. It was painful. This thing is painful, what they're going through, but it's coming to an end, or it's closing up. Okay, so I wasn't ready. We have the Sun with the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles could be a student, you know, having illumination, a student of, oh, so they're becoming the enlightened one, or they're studying. They could be studying esoteric as well. Wow, yeah. Studying mystery arts or mystery school. I don't know where I got that. Yeah, but the Page of Pentacles for me right now is a student. This person is a student. They're wanting to be challenged more. Ace of Pentacles. I'm telling you, something came to a full cycle. You see the circle there? They know that it's a new beginning right now. It's happening. The time is now. Oh, wow. So some of them could be waiting for money as well, or they're gaining money, or they may have a new job, because we see here that this person's been working from a long time. This is something that, you know, they could have been working with a lot of technology in the previous past, but now, you know, in these times, it's like they have to switch from technology or something that was going automatic to something that's manual now, and they have to work smarter where they're at. Or they're applying this to their inner work, because like I said, they were on autopilot, something that was done automatically without thinking. They're switching off that and going to manual, where they're going to have to keep an open mind. They're going to have to look a little deeper here, past the surface, to do something. But they could do it. I have faith in this divine masculine. All right, so let's get some key players, key characters out here. Tell us more, beloved. Wow, 10 of Pentacles. So this may be involving a family. Like I said, they are part of a large family, whether it's siblings, cousins, aunties and cousins, some type of family business. But I do feel here, divine feminine, that they're thinking about you deeply. They are fantasizing or daydreaming about life with you, having the stability, the dogs, the kids, the grandparents. Some of them, being that we saw the Four of Swords, I feel like they have been astral projecting themselves into a past timeline, and it has a lot to do with either their ancestral lineage, or they're unblocking, or they're kind of healing some ancestral karma here. It stops with this divine masculine because they're freeing themselves from a lot of religion and spiritual beliefs that kept them in captivity, that kept them a slave to their mind. This person is doing a lot of work. They may take a lot of time out to rest, to like digest what's really fuck. I feel like this divine, I almost said the F word. I feel like this divine masculine found out some harsh truth about their family, and it's kind of discouraging at times because of what they came from. And this is where the confusion comes in, because it's like you guys are totally different. Like it's like you understand things differently, speak differently, but you want the same things, you know? I feel like they can't move too far away from family. I feel like this discouragement is coming on because they don't want to abandon these people. There's a secret spot here that this person goes to. Oh, it's a church? No, it's it's some place that they consider a sanctuary, or I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I keep hearing the words forgiven and I forgive. Tell me more. All right, so we have Cancer with some earthy elements here. We have Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, and Cancer with the Chariot card. So they want some type of direction. I feel like they're overcoming a lot of their old ways or some old struggles that they've been going through. This could have a lot to do with the connection between the both of you starting to really surrender to the uniqueness of the divine feminine, to the way how you guys interact, the connection. And it's like, I want to move forward now, but the confusion comes in because they're not sure what you want, and they don't want to further misunderstand the divine feminine. All right, this person is tired of sitting back and they're ready to go, or they're ready to come through. This person is maintaining some type of balance in chaos, and it could have a lot to do with their family. They could have experience with money. We have the King of Wands, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries energy. The King of Wands could talk about a watery Sagittarius, or Scorpio, a Sagittarius that has Scorpio in them, or even with Cancer. So I definitely feel like this person wants to follow their heart. They feel more stable within themselves, and they're ready to move forward. They're determined to move forward. But being that we have the King of Wands here, it's like, I'm still going to do what I want to do type of energy. Because they know that you guys are destined to be each other. They've been having too many signs, synchronicities, too many daydreams. We saw the Four of Swords where they're actually resting, recovering before they start to work again. So they could be, really amping up, hyping themselves up to get back out in the working world. They may be bored in this quarantine or this lockdown, and they're ready to make money so they could move forward in life, passionately going after their passions. And one of those passions is their divine feminine, is the connection, is wanting to know more about who he or she is. How are they living by their principles and getting by so smoothly, because they seem to think that the divine feminine, male or female, you just get what you want effortlessly, but they're not seeing the manual labor or that inner work that you had to do. All right, so let's talk about, why is this divine masculine discouraged? The Four of Cups. So this person is very dissatisfied with I want to say that they're dissatisfied with the things that they're now coming to terms with when it comes to their home. It has a lot to do with their home life. So maybe in the past, they did not see the wrongs here. They did not see the wrongs in their family, how their family, mainly possibly the feminines in their home, in their community. They didn't see anything wrong with it. And it could just be because of their culture. You guys may have two different culture backgrounds, or you guys may come from the same continent, the same state, but you guys were raised totally different. I feel like you guys came from two large families. You guys are star seeds, and you guys could have had, the both of you could have similar parents, or one parent was kind of narcissistic or very demanding or very forceful. All right, so that's the similarities there that you guys working on breaking the chains with. All right, so with the Four of Cups, they're very nostalgic, and we have longing. So they may be nostalgic about past times, possibly with their divine feminine, possibly with life, thinking back or going back to a timeline. I kept repeating that, right? Thinking back of a timeline when they had what they thought they loved. So they're comparing a timeline where they thought that they had everything that they love, when they thought they were fulfilled, but they actually weren't. They were closed off a lot in their heart space. They were set in their ways, or they were just it was like they're thinking back at that timeline, and they're realizing how closed off they were, how stubborn they were, how discouraged they were. But it was like they kind of suppressed that and dealt with what they had in front of them. So this person dealt with the cards that they were given, not knowing that they could have shuffled the deck, or they could have played the hell out of those cards. Meanwhile, they could be very discouraged as well, that they ignored what the divine was giving them. They ignored their destiny. They were closed off to their destiny because of how they was raised. Or it could be possible that they were just going after a lot of property, a lot of physical, a lot of materialistic things. And this is what kept them closed off from divine or miracles in their life, because they were relying or leaning upon some type of belief or family structure, a culture, a tradition, religious factors that influenced their path. Oh, wow. Divine masculine. So they may be meditating, they may be fantasizing. We have it with the longing card here, about what ifs, or what if they did this with the divine family? What if they took up the divine feminine's offer? So it's a lot of what if fantasies. So your divine masculine may be in this fantasy during this lockdown, during this restful period, during this hard reset with the Four of Swords. Tell me more about the Four of Pentacles, please. And now we have the King of Pentacles. All right. So like I said, the both of you have a lot of strong views here. This could be the divine feminine showing up as the King of Pentacles. This could also be a same-sex relationship or connection in the twin flames. But the both of you are looking different ways. Like I'm saying, you guys have two different love language, two languages. So it's a lot of misunderstanding. One of you may be a little bit more impulsive, very fiery, all about passion, ready to run into the fire. While the other one is a little bit more grounded. So someone may be loud, very argumentative, or quick to get angered, temperamental. And the other one may be very grounded or practical, or a little bit systematic. For some of you, this is two different divine masculines that's wanting to come out and talk. Okay, so what I'm seeing here was they're thinking about a timeline where they had luxury. So in this shutdown, this lockdown, they're thinking of a timeline where they thought that they were happy because they had the money. Their entrepreneurial business, their hobbies were generating money. Their passionate hobbies, their careers was generating that money. They were very flashy. They felt abundant. They felt sociable, celebrative. And now it's like they're like very dissatisfied. They're discouraged. looking at that lifestyle and how it shut out a lot of miracles, a lot of divine connections, the divine feminine. Yeah. So they may be confused because they thought that this is what you wanted too. Because again, how they was raised, they were conditioned to pick certain type of partners. So now that they know through trial and error that the divine feminine, being this king of pentacles, did not move her. Being this king of pentacles, I always have to work, I'm busy, I gotta get this money, I gotta get this bag, I'm chasing this bag. All of that means nothing now. It means absolutely nothing right now in this current energy. It means nothing. So they're analyzing, they're calculative as well. I feel like they're analyzing each and every person, partner, situation in their life. And this is what's going to give them the direction to move forward in the Chariot. Tell me more. Uh-huh. So they want things to be steady, especially their money. Especially their money. Some of you, this divine masculine, we got one more card with the King of Pentacles. Two of Wands. I did see the Two of Wands when I mentioned that this divine masculine is planning. We have the Six of Pentacles. All right. So in the past, they may have been counted you out, or they left you to wonder or assume what was going on with them. They could have been working extra hard trying to build this life that they were conditioned or programmed to do. So some of you may have seen this person as acting single or that bachelor life, but they were actually trying to get their money steady. So when I mentioned that, it means absolutely nothing right now, because they're sitting watching the time. How much longer can I stay stationed? Can I stay in this one place? They're ready to go. They're very serious, divine feminine, in these king's energies. So a lot of them may be thinking that their life was like totally the wrong way. Some of them feel like you're judging them because they may have been too much about worldly success. It's taken longer than I thought. So to reach their succession, I hope I said that right, it's taken longer than they thought. I'm confused about what you said, mean, and want. They thought that you wanted what all the rest of them wanted. The previous partners, their usual escapades or their connections. But they're now starting to see that it was built on a foundation that was not this, because the house could also talk about the Tower as well. So they're having this breakthrough that the divine feminine is totally different. This is some type of cosmic wealth. This is the true abundance with the Ten of Pentacles. They want to go towards that. But it's almost like, for some of them, it's like they're forging, or they may try to manipulate the ethers. I feel like whatever they have right now means absolutely nothing, divine feminine, and they're starting to realize how they blocked out their miracles, divine connections, strong bonds, the divine feminine, the twin flame journey, healing. They're starting to see, by holding on to these religious factors or certain set of spiritual beliefs about spirituality, their culture, they're starting to see how holding on to those outdated beliefs kept them in a lifestyle that is just not worth it, or holding up a life that they didn't want. So now that they may have been freed, because they freed themselves either from a marriage, a past attachment that's been going on from 7 to 11 years. Yeah, 7 to 11 years, they're now free. But I don't know if they know that their accomplishments is going to take a while, or it's going to be very slow to materialize or to come into fruition. Because remember, we have toil and labor. It's taken longer than I thought it would. Nine of Pentacles could talk about slow achievements, but it's sturdy, it's fluid, it's reliable. This person wants to send you a message, and I feel like they hold back a lot. And they may be sitting waiting for you, especially those divine feminines that had a habit of coming back around when they probably said they wouldn't, when this was the last time. You may have had a habit of being drawn right back to them, and they may be thinking that that's taking longer than they thought it would because we have bored. So one of you are, really taking advantage of this rest time, and the other is not. So someone is taking advantage of the hard reset, and the other one is avoiding what they need to be doing. So you take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So the divine feminine, or one of you, is like living in gray areas where it may be, this person may live in an area where it was polluted, it was very high powered, could possibly be in the city, and then somebody else was living in the suburbs or a place where there's more connected to nature and time for rest. So it's almost like two completely different personalities here that was attracted through this connection and by healing and releasing a lot of things. So you guys could have been attracted through the traumas or through the similar upbringing. But now that you guys have this unexplainable connection, you're starting to see how both of you was helping each other to become more. Both of you are very serious. Both of you are showing up in masculine energy. So both of you are taking control of your lives. So where the divine masculine right now is learning that because of their resentment or their stubbornness, or just plain out being closed off to miracles, they were actually not seeing it. Even when they did see it, they didn't think that it was possible or real because of their upbringing. So they're starting to see a lot of flaws in the things that they learn under their roof with their parents, with their sibling, with a spouse, with a long time commitment. They're all starting to realize that it was not what they wanted. They're still very unsatisfied, it's like they're grumpy. And now they're feeling discouraged because maybe, that saying that goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. This may be one of those deals. But we have the Six of Pentacles, a board and occupation. They're ready to free themselves. They're tired of this confinement. They're ready to go back to work. They're ready to move forward in their life. They may be in a situation right now where they're being counted out because they're not bringing in any type of money. So if they're staying with roommates, if they're married still, if they're in a family unit, or they just have other people that's living under one roof, I feel like they're being counted out. I feel like they're being treated miserably because they don't have money to generate to come in. All they have is some type of hobbies. They have some type of studies that they may have graduated from. But they don't have money generating. And I feel like someone around them is actually ignoring them or pushing them out because they don't have that. And they're starting to see like what's a true friend. They're starting to see the difference between those types of people and the divine feminine, where the divine feminine love them without them even contributing any type of materialism. So they're longing for someone to accept them for them, even at a low, even at a time where they cannot do anything about their situation. So they may have been working really hard to impress the wrong people here, and they're starting to see that with the Two of Wands popping out here as the clarifying cards with the Two of Pentacles. They could be just really fantasizing about this collaborating with the divine feminine. We have two here talking about wanting to work with each other one on one. Or this could be the divine feminine that's coming through, really wanting to collaborate with the divine masculine. But I feel like it's a divine masculine because who I read for, I feel like these are divine feminines that has detached and is very independent, and they're calm in that energy. It's like they come to this deeper awareness or understanding that this person really needs to do their own work, and there's nothing I could do but be supportive from far. So with the Two of Wands, it's like they want to share some type of workload, or they want to become some type of powerful powerhouse couple, but the both of you are in your divine masculine, or they may be even seeing you as too masculine right now, and it's discouraging them because you may be a little bit more prosperous or a little bit more successful. You know, you dressing good, you looking good. It's like they already fell off the ball. They fell off the ball, and they could be watching you from social media, you know, getting really angry, getting really jealous and envious that, you know, you have a lot of material wealth, while they just had a lot of things that they were emotionally attached to. So, you know, your divine masculine may have been a child of immigrants, and this is where they learn how to work from a very young age. They just know how to work really hard. And again, they thought that this is what the divine feminine wanted, but they're starting to see that they really need to keep an open mind. Okay, so they're starting to see that the divine feminine wants cooperation. This could also mean that they're starting to understand that the grass was not green on the other side. So if you know that your divine masculine end up choosing a different path, that this is where the discouragement comes from, because they chosen a different path, a different relationship, a different person, a different way of living altogether, and because they probably got stuck there, or they're starting to realize like, this is not what I want, this is a bunch of attachments that's draining me, I really need something that's gonna promote me or motivate me to my achievements. Wow. You guys may live across a body of water, or there's a lot of water around your divine masculine, maybe a lake, a pond, could even be a dock. So I feel like they're waiting for you, divine feminine. It's taking longer than I thought. If you had a habit of coming around or reaching out to them, you know, checking up on them, you know, when things like crisis or tragedy tragedies happen, like hurricanes, storms, tornadoes, maybe you had a way of reaching out to them just to check on them to see if they're okay. And some of you have not done this because you may have been waiting for your divine masculine to contact you to see if you're living or breathing, you know? So both of you may be waiting on each other. But somebody's getting tired of sitting back, and they're ready to take this into a different direction, or they're ready to move forward towards you, divine feminine, with the Chariot. I feel like they're very determined to have something here. It's like they're getting tired of longing for you. Let me see in the middle here. Obligations, legally bond, duties, commitment, and responsibilities. So this may be discouraging them from actually doing something here because they're obligated elsewhere. Like I said, they may be living somewhere under a roof, one roof, with some people here that could be a family business. This could be a spouse. This could be literally family members, siblings, sisters, mama, pops. And they're obligated. They have a lot of duties with these people because of their upbringing, their programming, their conditioning, and they're wanting to free themselves because they're not like they're dissatisfied with what's coming up for them. They feel like it's an attachment. It's very draining. I almost said dangerous. They're looking at you as successful all on your own, or very sturdy. You have like this steady energy of, okay, you know what it is? You were the only, not predictable. They felt like they could have predicted your move because you were so consistent. That's the word. So divine feminine, your divine masculine thought that you were so predictable because you were very consistent with them, consistent in your emotions, with your intellect, with growth, with being affectionate to them. So they're waiting for you, and they're bored. They are like, uninterested in anything else, because again, everything else was draining. It was attached to them. They were obligated to stay in a lot of situations because of wealth, because of money. All right, this divine masculine could have thought that being that they met you after these people, that these people were better off to build with. So when they got to know the divine feminine and realize after you guys went into separation, just how unique you were, just how it's like they're appreciating you, but it shouldn't take absence to have a form of appreciation. You know what I'm saying? But that's what happens when you were consistent. They thought that you will always be around, and it's a strong possibility that they were doing this with these other people so you wouldn't see how much they were lacking, how much they had to work just to meet you on your level. This may be something that they just didn't feel comfortable exposing to you. They didn't want you to feel sorry, or they didn't want you to think of them any less or as a failure, a loser. All right, so I'm going to stop there. I feel like they're looking at options, or they feel like you have options, divine feminine, because they chose a different path, or they may be feeling like your grass is greener. They feel like your grass is greener, divine feminine. And you may be the one that's discouraged because you guys have too many differences. It's too many misunderstanding, and you, divine feminine, may be the one that's confused now. So things became a full cycle or full circle for your divine masculine, and things changed with you. So you guys may have switched places, but the both of you know this is destiny. Together meets forever. All right. So this is something that may be very much on the forefront for them. Let's read inspirational quote. This may or may not have anything to do with the spread. It's just something to help us to think deeply or deeper. Divine masculine, if you're watching, go and big up yourself in the comment box below. This is just an energy tap. I think I would be doing a third party energy tap as well. Oh my, I keep picking that one. All right, so I'm going to read this one and I'm going to pick another one. So it says, the mind can go in 1,000 directions, but this beautiful path I walk in peace. With each step, a gentle wind blows. With each step, a flower blooms. So there's a lot of hope here to move forward. With the Chariot, this person feels like they're protected or they're being guided to move towards the divine feminine. They could be a little bit impulsive. They could lack a little bit of tact or structure also. I didn't even go to a page. All right. So we have 27. We can live our daily lives in such a way that every act becomes an act of love. That's what I'm saying. This divine masculine has realized that the acts that they have been putting in effort in is actually attachments. It's unsafe routines. It's dead routines. It's an autopilot. Now they're learning and it's manual. This is manual stuff that they're doing. But there's still a little bit of discouragement, or they feel like they feel really critical about themselves, especially if it's a divine masculine that's a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. They feel very critical about themselves. This could be a Taurus with fire, or Aries Taurus, or Taurus Aries cusp, or this may be just the energy from Aries as well. Wanting, having that burst of energy to do something different. You know, letting their anger, letting their pain lead them to their passion. You get what I'm talking? But they're very self-critical about themselves, and they could also be critical about the divine feminine and others around them. This is why we have to keep an open mind, because they have to learn to curve that, because they understand now that that behavior, that attitude has shut them out or kept them shut off from miracles, from faith, from hope, from the simple things that builds your foundation to get you through the day. Let's read that again. 27. That number may be of significance to any of you. It says, we can live our daily lives in such a way that every act becomes an act of love. So this person may be coming from a more love-based energy. Again, probably having to break down a lot of outdated beliefs or traditions, a thought process. But it's very discouraging. They feel dispirited because having to come to that awareness about themselves, stop pointing the fingers or blaming, really seeing that they had a big role in where their life was heading, and they may have been masquerading, with all of this worldly possession in the past, disguising the fact that they were really damaged more than they knew. So when everything shut down, when everything came to a halt and they had a lot of time to rest, some of them could even be, again, astral projecting themselves to a past timeline, seeing certain things that their conscious mind blocks out in the day, but as they rest or as they lay or meditate, this could talk about meditation. As they lay down or meditate or dreams, their subconsciousness brings up a lot of things that they're avoiding, because I felt like this was a very avoidant person, but they like to work. They feel like working and bringing in money or having these nice things could gloss over the fact that they may have had a very snobby attitude as well, very pessimistic at times, very negative, or always trying to see the negative. And it came from their family, their family background. So I'm going to stop it there. I hope you guys did find some type of inspiration, insights. I hope it was very encouraging and uplifting. Go and big up yourself if you're a true divine twin flame, divine masculine, divine feminine. Go and comment. Let's keep these free, amazing readings going. And yeah, this is all about the twin flame community. Congratulations if you are one of the few that decided to answer the call, because we all are chosen. It's just a few decides to answer the call and walk that journey of evolution, of ascending. This twin flame journey is not all about being in union. It's about raising the energy and the vibration of the earth. It's about lifting the earth to a new way of living that's more grounded in acts of love or in the love-based energy. All right, so see you guys in another video. Chat to you guys later. Ciao.